Last class we have discussed about inheritance and other concept that we have discussed yesterday class, right? So today we are going to discuss about the mappings. Mappings means like relationship between objects. Okay, let's what is mappings? Let's say one class is so one table is relating with another table. Means table in the data is there, right? Let's say we are inserted one record. That record is depending on another row, another table, one more record. Another table, it is depending on some other table record. So we need to keep the relation between these two tables. So let's say table of one row of a table is associated with only one row of another table, means then we'll call it as a one to one mapping. Okay, if exactly one table row of one table is associated with only one row, not with many rows, then it is a one to one mapping. How exactly? By keeping of primary key foreign key relation. By keeping that, we can keep the association between those two rows by using a one to one mapping. There is a annotation is that was introduced, that we'll see that. Before that, let's see of some terminologies before moving to that mappings. Okay, now what is cascading? Cascading is nothing but let's say go to let's say we are taking off some two tables is there, just assume that. Okay, just assume of two tables is there. So one row of this table is associated with one more row of another table. Okay, now here, to keep the relation between two objects, to keep the relation between two objects, so if you want to fetch of that, we keep the relation. But if you want to fetch the data along with the child record, let's say you are fetching of data of parent record. We know that relation is there. If you are fetching of the parent record, if the child record is coming automatically, the child record is coming automatically, then we will call it as a cascading. Okay. Now you are doing of some operations. Let's say you are doing some insertion. So if you are inserting parent record, if the child record is also automatically saving, means then we will call it as a cascading. Okay, so whatever the operations that you are performing on the parent, if it is uh, performing on the child, means then cascading. What type of operation? Update. If you are doing deleting parent, child also should delete. If you are updating parent, child also should update. Okay, if you are inserting parent, child also should insert. So all means if you are performing whatever the operation on parent, the child also should do same operation. Okay, that's what cascading. Okay, now what is lazy loading? Okay, so while loading of data, while getting the data time, let's say you are trying to get of only parent record, you don't want of child record. Okay, then if you are getting the data from the database along with the parent record, along with the parent record, if the child is also getting, then we will call it as a eager loading. So whenever we need, whenever we need child objects, that time only, if it is getting from the database, means based on the need, if the data is coming from the database, means then we will call it as a lazy loading. Okay, there is some attribute is there that we will see for that, lazy and eager. Now, eager loading means if the child objects are going to be fetched from the database along with the parent objects, we don't need to specify anything. Directly along with the parent object, the child data is also coming. That will call it as a eager loading. Okay. So by default, there are some mappings. The mapping types are four is there: one to one mapping, one to many to one, many to many. Okay, there are four mappings: one to many to many is enough. This is reverse of that. Okay, any one is enough. So out of these four mappings, in the four mappings, one to one and one to many, these two are lazy loading. Sorry, one to many and many to one, this is a eager loading, because compulsory one record of one table is associated only with one record of another table, right? So and many to one, in the many to one case, So many records are associated with a single table. Compulsory the child table is required. Even that case also that eager loading is required. Now one to many. In this case, one to many and many to many, the relationship between the objects is lazy. Whenever based on the need, whenever you want to, we are trying to get the data. That time only it will fetch the data from child table. Okay. Now we'll see. Next is what is inverse attribute. Okay, these are the terminologies that you need to remember, guys. So if the if the attribute value is false, inverse is a true or false, guys. So if you are keeping as a false means then is of one directional, then is of relationship between those two objects is only one directional. One directional means only the parent is associated with child. Okay, only parent to child allows child. So if the inverse attribute is true means then it is of bidirectional, then the relationship between both the tables, both the rows is bidirectional relation. So parent to child as well as child to parent, both is there. Okay. Now let's come to mappings, associations. Let's take it off. Why do we need mappings? So based on the requirement, sometimes only one table is not required to for our requirement, not sufficient for our requirement implementation in the database tables. Let's say if the database is modeled into multiple tables, modeled means creation, guys. Okay, model means it is of creation. If you want, you can see of like there is a model. Okay, if the database is modeled into multiple tables with a relationship between two tables, then then we need to we need to model the poso classes with relationships. Now we are inserting the data and getting the data based on the poso class names, right? So even we need to give the relationship between those two tables in the poso classes by using annotations called if you are using a one to one annotation, there is annotation at one to one. So on what basis you want to give the relationship between these two tables means there is a annotation, one more annotation at the primary key join column, and there is some other attributes also there that we will see that. Now based on the requirement we need to apply one of the above four associations between the two objects. Now let's see first one. Let's say in one-to-one mapping, one object of a class. Okay, I have created one class object that is associated with only one object of another class. That means two Pojo classes. Okay, I have two Pojo classes. One Pojo class object is associated with another exactly only one Pojo class object. That means one Pojo class object means that is one record, right? So another Pojo class object means that is of another record in another table. Okay, one record of table is associated with only one record of another table. The poso class object that means one record, right? So even another way also we can call it is one record of a table is associated with only one record of another table. In this mapping both the tables will share the common primary key. Okay, by using a primary key they will keep the relation between those two. Now let's go for one to one mapping class one to one. So, so in this guys, the common things what is that? Let me model classes. So based on the for implementing one to one relation, it depends on the requirement we need to choose whether we need to go for one to one or one to many or many to many. Like that we need to choose which association is suitable for our requirement. Let's say for example you are going for some passport application, right? You are trying to apply some passport. So is it possible to get two passports for a single applicant? No, right? So compulsory a application. So one person contains one passport. There is no chance of giving two passports, right? Now, in that case, we can keep the relationship between the applicant and the passport is as a one-to-one relationship. Now let's try that. It is a depends on the requirement that we need to choose. Okay, let's say if you are thinking about you are a employee in the you are a employee in the organization, then in that case, so they will take off your details. They will take along with your all the details. They will take address details also, right? There may be a chance of you have two addresses. If you are non-local means you have temporary address in the Bangalore and current address as well as permanent address. Current address as well as permanent address. That means that one employee can contains of more than one addresses. Then in that case we can keep the relationship between the two objects, the employee and address. We can say it as a one to many relationship. You can think about one to one relationship. Now, like that, one to many that we can discuss. Okay, let's first finish off one to one example. Now, let's. I'm creating already this is of existing project. So inside that, all are that we have seen com.ibc the package is created. So in the model classes, I have taken off one application user. Application user. The table is also applicant. Just assume of if you want add as a applicant underscore John. Just assume if you want change it now. And after that, so inside this I created of along with what are the details of application user. It contains of application ID is generated, the name, age, city, and along with this we need of the passport details also to associate to this user, to associate passport number and the expiry date. All those there are some details is there, right? Those also we need to keep association with application user, correct or not? So in that case I am adding as a passport as a one more parameter, one more property in the application user, that I am keeping as one to one mapping, that I am keeping as a one to one mapping. This is the property in the, this is the property in the passport class, model class, and I'm kept as cascade equal to cascade type dot all. Let's say if I'm inserting applicant, then child passport also I should insert. If I'm deleting applicant, the passport also should delete. Okay. Now I'm keeping here as the change is only at one to one annotation. This will do the magic between those two tables. It will keep the relation. Okay. Now let's go to passport. Inside passport, inside passport, what I'm doing? The passport contains some details of like passport ID. Okay, passport ID and passport number. These are primary key, guys. So passport ID, passport number, and issue date when it is issued. What is the expiry date? It is of 10 years, right? Now after that, I said the applicant is one of the property that we are mapped in the, that we are mapped in the in one to one mapping of mapped by. Okay, so this applicant, the application user is mapping in the passport model class by using a mapped attribute of this one, mapped by this attribute in this passport model class. That's what the mapped. Now the passport id, the passport id, what it is I'm giving as whatever that is generated in the, whatever that is generated in the application user is there, right? So to keep the relation between those two, whatever the id that I'm generated here, it is going to generate, right? That id I want to use in the passport id column. Okay. Now next passport id is that we need to add it, issue id, expiry date. So in this, in between those two, on what basis we are using? At the primary key join column that we need to use. What is that join primary key? The applicant ID is the primary key, right? So based on that, it will keep the relationship between these two. Now let's go to one applicant client test. Now I have created of one application user. These two are common things, guys. I'm no need to explain. Getting of session object and starting of session. This is the common steps. Okay, loading of Hibernate configuration, calling the build session factory, opening a session, and begin transaction. These are the common steps for doing of any Hibernate application. Now, so first what I'm doing, I'm creating of one object of application user who want to apply for a passport. So what are the details that I'm giving? A name, age, and city, right? So along with that I'm setting up some more data. I'm setting up some more data. What is that? The passport is required. The passport details: passport number, issue date, and next what is the expiry date, those things. This is of expiry date. And next we need to set this passport, we need to set this passport in the applicant. Okay, now we need to set this applicant in the passport. Now l- let's run it. This is one way, guys. There is one more way is there, that also we'll discuss. Or else if you want, let's create let's delete of existing one. Shall I just anyone is in the lobby? No. Okay. Select from. Okay. Now one more is passport table. Select from. Now let's truncate of the data. Truncate table is truncated. Truncate means it will delete only data, guys, not the table. Okay. Now, so after that, what in the Hibernate configuration file, there is no changes. We need to add we need to add these two. We need to add these two applicant and user application user and passport model classes. Okay, this is for another way to check off that one to many, one to one. So I have taken off one more same example by changing of annotations. Okay, now let's go to start running this one. We don't have any data. If you want, you can see that there is no data in the applicant as well as passport. Let's create a passport underscore John. Okay, now let's run it. I changed the table names, guys. Okay, now let's say, so those two tables were, if it is not there, it will create it. So the create table, so because this is another one is there, right? For that it is created, leave it about that. This is of so create table applicant underscore John. It is having application ID and age, city, name. Along with that, out of that application under ID as a primary key in the applicant table. Now in the passport. In the passport, I have created a passport data also. Passport ID, expiry date, issue date, passport number, and app ID. So this app ID means on what basis? This is of passport too. Sorry. Yeah. Now this is of passport underscore John. So this one, it is one more table is this is the association with this is of association with applicant user table applicant underscore John. So by using of these two primary keys, we are keeping the relation. Now let's see the data. Let's see the data of that. First it is inserted application underscore John. It is inserted of age ID, city, name, and applicant. After that, passport John is also created. Now let's go and verify the data. What is the it is inserted. So 128 Bangalore Rajesh. Okay. Now let's what is happened. Why it is? Do we need of this? Let's truncate it. And let's comment off these two and run the client. It is attempted to assign it from the null one-to-one property. Passport applicant, we need to add this one. But to save the persistent of applicant, set applicant dot set passport equal passport is also there. Now let's try mistake that we did. Let's see. So it should be there, right? Data, why it is not? Sorry guys, I'm checking in the passport, not underscore passport underscore John table. We are inserted data in the passport underscore John table, not in the passport table, right? Now let's truncate both. Maybe some duplicate data might be inserted 2 times that were inserted, right? Commit it. Yeah, now let's run it. Now it inserted passport underscore John as well as applicant underscore John, both the tables. The data is inserted. Applicant underscore John 128 Bangalore Rajesh. Next, go to passport details. Passport ID is same as the applicant ID. To keep the relationship between passport ID and applicant user, I am keeping that whatever the ID of this one here, whatever the ID of applicant ID, I'm keeping the ID as same the passport ID also as foreign key in the passport table. Okay, and the expiry date, issue date, and passport number. So if you want to get the data between these two, now what we can do, we can keep the relationship between select star select. If you want, you can get a specific value also, guys. Yeah, come on. So anyways, we can write, guys. We can use of join also. See, where a dot id a dot, what is the value of here, a dot applicant id dot applicant applic and applicant underscore id equal to e dot applicant passport id. I think this is passport underscore id. Let's run it. What was happened? Yeah, sorry, from is missed. In this case, if you want to have selected columns between those two, you can get it. Only those particular columns. Okay. If you don't want of passport ID 2 times, both are same value, right? Application ID, a city name, passport ID, expiry date. So by keeping the relationship between those two IDs, okay, the applicant table ID and the passport ID table column, by keeping up the relationship between those two, we can get a single record. Okay, so this is of one way. Let's say, so by using of one-to-one annotation in that. Now there is a one more way, that is of by using at primary key join column. Okay, at primary key join, by using that also we can achieve that. Now I have created of applicant 2 underscore already is there, change that table name. If the data is there, remove it. So one more way of getting the data, guys. One more way to achieve of 1 to 1. There is no data. Let's create a John. Let it be. And so there is no changes in these properties, guys. Only some properties will change it. Here I am not doing anything. This one in the applicant in the passport, go to passport. Let's see. So in the passport table, passport underscore John table, John. Here I am using at 1 to 1. At 1 to 1 and cascade equal to all operations, whatever we are doing on the applicant, we can add that is applicable in the passport table as well. Okay. Now I'm using of at join column. So I want to use of the join column between these two application user and the passport by using annotation called at join column. Which column that is? Application ID. Application ID of which one? Application user is there, right? Application user. This one, with this column I want to keep the relation. I want to keep the relation between these two by using a application underscore application app ID. Okay, so it will create one column. It will create one column. Whatever that is there in the whatever that the primary key of this one, it will be used in this table. Whatever the value that is available in this column applicant ID, that value will be added into app ID as a one more column in the passport table. Okay, now let's see. Now the data is nothing, guys. Let me open up that. Only the change is there we have removed 1 to 1, we kept in the passport table as 1 to 1, and then by using at joined column. Now let's go to client. So I kept up applicant user and passport 2 is also, yes, it will create of two new tables. Okay, client 2, the data I kept as same, only applicant application user 2 and passport, the data is same. While setting the data in the passport only we have that applicant, not in the application user we don't have passport, right? So the property in the passport only we have applicant property, right or not? See, if you want in the application user, we don't have that passport. This I have commented. Okay, but still I want to keep the relationship between those two. That one to one annotation I am keeping inside other object. Here I am using. Okay, now let's go to client test. Data is same. Only here one for in the passport only we are added of that set applicant property. Now let's run. Before that, let's see the data. Do you have passport 2? Let's see. The table itself is not there. This also table itself is not there. Now let's see. What happened? Unknown entity passport 2. Okay, I think we did a mistake in the mapping that we have disabled, right? Yeah, see these two things were disabled. It is not able to identify those while running it. Now let's uncomment it, and now let's run it. Compulsory we need to add those entity classes in the Hibernate configuration file, guys. Otherwise, while loading up that configuration file, it cannot identify. Even though if you're adding in the client, if you're adding in the mapping file, then only it can load those things. If the data is not there, it will create it. All those things it will happen from the configuration file only. Now let's go to, it is created passport 2 underscore Jan as well as applicant underscore John. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, I have inserted of 128 Bangalore Rajesh. Now next in the passport 2 table, in the passport 2 table along with the passport ID, it is added of one more column. What is that? App ID. App ID, the value for that is application ID, whatever that value is there, right? The same value it will keep it will here. Same value it will maintain here. Okay? By using of this applicant ID, the passport dot applicant ID is equal to applicant dot application ID. Then it will give off that single application user details. Here, simply here to here to application data is equal to passport dot p dot app id app underscore id. Then it will give that record. And let me run it. What happened? Yeah, see this? In this case also it is giving off the data. No change. Okay. Anyways, we can that either that way or this way, both we can do that. Okay. Now, if you understood this one, now next one to many. One to many. So in case of one to one, only one application user having only one passport details. Okay. So that primary key that we are using in the other table, right? Now let's say one record, sorry, one record is associated with multiple rows in other table. Okay, let's say the one record in this table is associated with multiple records in the other table, just assume that. Okay, by keeping the relation with id, primary key id. Okay, now let's see the example for that. Go to one to many. So in one to many, in one to many mapping, one object of a class, one object of a, let's say assume of that employee object, one object of a class is associated with multiple objects of other classes. Other class means just assume of address class. I'm taking one to many. Okay, now or we can say or we can say one record in the table, one record of a table is associated with multiple records of another table. Okay, let's assume employee record is there, so we can't keep all the duplicate values of employee details while inserting of one more row for permanent address and for current address. So instead of that, so primary employee details will be stored in the employee table, and employee primary key will be used in the address table to keep the relationship between, yes, these are the address details that are related to, yes, this employee. Okay, now that we can keep instead of making duplicate. Now in this mapping, primary key of one side will be becoming as foreign key in the other places, in many places. So in the single record employee table, primary key that we are keeping as a foreign key in the child other tables. Okay, many records wherever it is there, there we will maintain of that foreign key relationship with other tables, other table of the record. Now let's take up the example. We'll go to one to many. Close all these things. Now let's open paint class, that we'll see later. Now we'll see of model classes. Okay, now in the model class, first go to address, sorry, employee. Employee table, let's see if already any data is there in this table. Let's delete it. Any data? Yes, we have some data is there, truncated. Okay, it is of having some constraint with child records, because employee contains some address, right? It is a child records. Now first we need to delete of child records. Let's delete of child, yes, child records is truncated. Next, both are truncated, and clear it. Now clear the console. Now let me explain of how exactly the extra thing that what we can do is, let's say in the employee class, the new thing here is entity, that annotation that we know, attribute table annotation that we know, ID is the primary key. How exactly we are going to the ID primary key of the this employee table? We are using from generate sequence, from sequence that we are creating. Okay, or else you can keep auto also fine. Let it get from sequence, it doesn't matter. Now primary key of a employee table, first name, last name, age, salary. Along with that, along with that, he contains a set of addresses. Let's say this employee contains multiple addresses. So in the address table, in the address class, it is mapped by one to many. In this it is one, right? So it is having relation with one to many. We have property of employee in the address table. Okay, we need to keep for yes, this is the address of this employee. How exactly we can keep? Now go to address. This property is mapping. This property is mapping with this table, with this class, with this poso class. Now see, so these are known things. IDs are known things. Now at many to 1. There we given as, there here what we given as, here 1 to many. This employee is 1, many is addresses. Okay. Now in the addresses, address is many. See, in the employee, address is many and 1 is employee. Okay, we are keeping the relation different annotation. And what is the what is the between the join column between these two is EID. Employee ID is the foreign key in this table that we are using here. That is only the change. So everything mappings means it is purely on annotations, one to many, join columns. Okay, there are some new attributes will come in the next mapping that we'll see. As of now is very less. Now let's go to client test. So in this case, what we're doing? So I'll create a one employee object with multiple addresses. Okay. Now let's see. I create of one employee, right? First name, last name, age, and salary. The address is there, right? It contains of multiple addresses. It contains of multiple addresses. Now what we are doing here is address I have created. Street, city, and zip code. So in the address object, we have a set employee is the right. I am passing off this employee object. Okay, so it will take off that employee ID value. Okay, next I'm taking off set of this one address, one more permanent address. So in that also I'm keeping as employee object. Will take off the primary ID which is generated here. After that, I'm saving off employee, current address, and permanent address. All I am saving 3 objects. Okay. Now let's see. It's taking time. Yes. Now let's go up. It is created of some sequence IDs for inserting the data. Just use the employee ID. This is of permanent address ID. This is of current address ID. Just assume that first it is inserting employee. It is inserting one record into employee OTM. OTM means one to many. I given that like that. Okay. Is first name, last name, salary, and employee ID. I have inserted one record in employee table. Now I'm setting multiple addresses, right? So this is of first address, this is of second address ID. Now let's go and see the how exactly we can keep the relationship between these two. This of employee ID is 2, 5, 25, Pooja, Reddy, and last salary is 15,000. Okay. Now let's go to address table as well. Address underscore OTM. In this case, this is of address ID, Bangalore, Marthalle, zip code. So this employee EID. So this EID is there in the employee ID. See, this is the employee ID. So instead of normally, we need to do of same details with other columns, right? Normally, same details with address, city, street, and zip code. These are different values, but whenever if you are inserting of, let's say take, just assume of take this data. Okay, this one. So along with this, if I'm keeping as address details, this one is 3. This is 1. Again with the same record, it is a duplicate, right? It will not accept it. Again with same, this person having one more address. This person having one more address with these are all, again it will come as a duplicate, and it will change as these 3 things. Right, instead of that, that is not correct, right? It is of duplicating this data again. So instead of that, instead of this, what we are doing, this primary key is a employee id is the unique key for the employee, right? So this id that I am using in the address table to identifying of, yes, these two addresses are related to employee id. These two addresses are related to employee id. Okay, this is what the one to many. Now, let's say if we are trying for a many to many. So, let's say if you are trying for a many to many. So, in this case, let's say when we need to choose that one, one to many, or many to many. Now, let's say you are a one bank customer. You are one bank customer. You may have chance of having more than one bank account. Let's say you are having account in the SBA, you are having account in the HDFC, Access Bank. Let's say you have customer. So you have you have bank accounts in multiple accounts, multiple banks, right? So a bank can contain not only one customer, right? Not only single customer. So bank contains multiple customer. A customer can contain multiple bank accounts. So in this case, we can keep the relationship between both the tables as many to many. We can keep relationship as many to many. Now let's go for many to many. In many to many mapping, one object of a class, one object of a class is associated with multiple records. Okay, bank is there, customer is there. Bank also, bank ID is associated with multiple customers, and one customer is associated with multiple banks. Okay, now let's see in this. And one object of y is associated with multiple objects of x. That's what I am explaining. We can say like one record of table A, one record of table A is associated with multiple records of table B, and one record of table B is associated with multiple records of table A. Okay, now let's see through example. Okay, now let's go to how exactly what are the associations that we need to add in this cases. Let's close off these things, close all. Now take off one to, sorry, many to many project. In this case, we'll take off model class, guys. It is of everything is model configurations only, guys. Okay, everything is model configuration. Don't think like we will write off this client code, all those things in our projects, like different things. So mainly our model class is the configuration. In case of Spring Boot and microservice, Spring Boot, Spring, all those things, first we'll create a model class with this configuration, whatever that we are doing. So on all this Hibernate util and resource Hibernate configuration, those properties that will configure as part of the Spring configuration as some properties. We'll not do all those things. So but right now we are doing only Hibernate, right? So that is the reason that loading, client class loading, all those things that we are writing. Now we need to concentrate more on model classes. Now let's take off bank. Okay, bank. This of entity is that no notation. At a table is also no notation. The table name is bank. I am creating of one model class bank. Okay, table name is bank underscore mtm. Let's go if any data is available. Is there now? delete of this one. There is some new table will be created in this case, guys. We'll see that. Oh, let's see. Customers. Customers. Delete it. Customers. So we don't have any bank details and we don't have any customer details. Okay. Let's delete of this table as well. Okay. Drop table. Table name is this one. Dropped. Finish it. Now, even if you are deleting this also, it will create, guys. No worries. But this is in between while executing, it will create new table one more. Okay. To keep the relations between those two tables, we are using of one more new table is going to create in this case. Okay. Now go to bank model class. Inside bank model class, we are there is a primary key. That is a known thing. There is no new here. These are all the properties. So bank means it contains a bank ID, name, branch code, and IFC code. Okay. Now there is a bank can contain of set of customers or multiple customers. How exactly we can keep the relationship between bank and customers? So now there is a annotation called at many to many. At many to many. Fetch equal to what I am doing. Fetch type equal to lazy means whenever I need child class records, whenever I am required, that time only load child class objects. And cascade type means if you are doing of updation, do update in the child. If you are deleting, then do child also. So like that, cascade equal to all. Okay. Now after this annotation, before cases what we are doing, only annotation that we are added, right? Now in the cases we are added of some more attributes. Now, so now before we are using, you saw that the only the annotation is at join column only, but not at join table. You didn't see till now. Okay. Now, so I want to create of some new table. Okay, I want to create of some new join table to keep the relationship between those bank and customer object, bank object and customer object. I want to keep some new table, those primary keys of these two tables to make it relation. Now let's say, for example, yeah. So what at the join table, name of the table is bank underscore customer underscore MTM. This is the table name. So in this table, what are all the columns that you are adding? So in this table means I can say bank ID is there, name is there, branch name, IFC code is there. Okay. In the customer table, in the customer underscore MTM table, customer ID is there, name, email, mobile number, these details is there. Okay. But in the new table which we are going to create, bank underscore customer underscore MTM, it is a giant table. Okay. To keep the relation between the bank and customer, we are creating new table. So in this table, what are the columns that we are keeping? Okay. So we are using of join columns between bank and customer. The primary keys of these two tables we are maintaining in the different table. Okay. Now let's see what are the columns that also we need to mention, guys. Based on this configuration only, it will create a new table. Okay. We will not add anything in the mapping. So in the Hibernate mapping file, even though what is there here, we have only bank and customer. Okay, it should create bank table and then customer table, right? But it will create one more table that is called this table. So in this table, what are the columns that is there means at join column. All the columns, join columns are at join column of bank ID. Bank ID means wherever we are there, that bank ID, the property is there, right? So that you can add here. Okay. And nullable is false. And what is the relation with other table, this record? What is the relation with other table is inverse join columns are inverse the related columns. That means inverse join column relationship other table columns are at join column of customer underscore id, customer underscore id from this customer one, customer table. This I want to keep as a this primary case of bank id and primary key of customer, those I want to keep as a in different table, that is called bank underscore customer underscore mtm. Okay, now let's see why. Okay, we'll see that after this. Now there is no new changes, only the changes are this one. In the customer table, in the sorry, in the customer model class, we need to keep the relation, right? Again, this one, many to many fetch equal to lazy, and it is mapped with customers. It is mapped with customers. Where it is customers? Customers is available in the bank. It is with this, it will associate mapping. Now let's say, now we'll create of one bank object, under bank we'll create of multiple customers, and for single customer we'll create of bank account objects with multiple. Okay, now let's create a client class to insert the data. If do you have data? I don't think so. We have data is no data. Okay, now this table also we don't have. We have deleted, right? No table exist. Okay, now let's go to client class. Go to client class. Inside this client, what we are doing here first, this is of known thing is getting the connection from the session factory and opening of session, begin transaction. These are common things, no changes. First what I'm doing, I'm creating of one bank object, bank, bank one equal new bank of hdfc bangalore, these are the ifc code. Okay, I'm creating one more bank, state bank of india hyderabad, this is the ifc code. Okay, so what are the customers of state bank and what are the customers of hdfc bank, that we'll see. We need to keep the relation, right? This bank we need to keep with multiple customers, and this bank also we need to keep multiple customers if one customer is associated with multiple banks means. Okay, now what I am doing next, I am keeping these two, bank 1 and bank 2, I kept as a one set, one set. Inside the set I am adding this is a bank 1 and bank 2, set of banks, right? I am keeping those two banks in the set. Next, create of multiple customers, customer 1, customer email and mobile number, this is of customer 1. Next, customer 2, email, name, mobile number. I created a one more customer, name, email and mobile number. One more is also there, four customers, right? Now for each customer we need to know the customer 1 is belongs to which bank, customer 2 is belongs to which bank, we should set, right? And what are the customers of bank 1, what are the customers of bank 2, that we need to keep the relation, right? We don't know, we are not giving any relationship between anywhere now till now, right? Now let's see, set of customers in the customer one list. Okay, in the bank we have a set of customers. Okay, now I've created a set of customers object, one set of has set. In the customer one, what I'm adding, customer one set of customer one and customer two I have added for one set, customer list set. Okay, customer set. Now this customer set for this customer list, which one, customer one and customer two, I'm adding to bank one. What is the bank one? Bank one is of hdfc bank. I'm adding customer one and customer two added to set, that set I'm adding to bank one. Okay, a bank can contain set of customers. I have created the set of customers here, and this customer set is I'm adding to bank one. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, next, for the customers we have set of customers, set of customers, customer 2 3 4, 2 3, 2 is having here is there and 2 is available in here also, right or not? Now bank 2 is contains of customer 2 sets. right? Now this list is available in the bank 1, this list is available in bank 2. Okay, but customer 2 is there in the both the banks. Let's say his ID is available in the both or not. Okay, that means this customer is really having more accounts. HDFC account is there and SBI account is there. Now let's see whether his ID is available in the both the banks or not. Okay, now save off both the banks. Okay, save off both banks. Now let's run it. Non save changes. Okay, let's save it. And now let's see. Wait. It's taking time. Yeah. Now it is inserted of all the many queries are there because multiple things that we are inserted. Right. Now let's see. Go to the table. So bank contains two banks, right? HDFC and State Bank. Right. Bank ID is 5, Bangalore, HDFC, IFC code, HDFC code, and HDFC bank name. Next is bank ID is 5, Hyderabad branch name is Hyderabad, IFC code, and name of the bank. Now, if any customers, the customers of bank ID 5, that is HDFC. Now let's see who is available in the bank ID 5. Go to customers. So if this ID is there with the customer, bank ID is there means then he is associated with the customer table. Do you have bank ID in this table? So customer ID is 6th. Customer ID is 6. Email is Rajesh and mobile number name. Then how we will come to know that the customer 6 is belongs to which bank? Which bank? Customer. That we can see the primary key of the 6 and bank table we are mapping inside different table that is called bank customer MTM. See the customer ID 5. Who is the bank customer? Bank ID is 5 is HDFC. HDFC, this ID is there, the customer ID is 6. Is associated with the bank 5 means HDFC. Customer 7 is also associated with HDFC. Okay. Now again customer 6, customer 6 is associated with State Bank also. Now this 8 is means State Bank. This is associated with multiple clients, 9 6 10 clients, right? Now this client 6 is associated with two banks, HDFC as well as State Bank. That means we are keeping the relationship between here here one record is associated with multiple tables. Here one record is also associated with multiple records. Sorry, multiple records, not tables. Okay. This is what many to many. Okay, let's say if you want to know that, yes, customer 5 is so if you want to know if customer 6 is belongs to which bank, by seeing this one, by seeing customer 6 here, go to bank ID is there, go to bank table, and what is the ID of this one? ID 5 is associated with HDFC bank. Okay, now if you want to see of 10, 10 is customer ID 10, go to customer table 10 is Priya, right? Priya is associated with which bank? Here customer ID 10. In the bank customer table, it is associated with bank ID is 8. Now go to take that bank ID and go to bank table and check is bank ID 8 is associated with it is a State Bank of India. Okay, this is where we can use of different table to maintain the primary keys of both the tables. It is of creating separate new table bank underscore customer underscore empty. It is creating, it is maintaining of only bank id and customer id only. See, the primary key is both guys, bank id and customer id. Primary key is not single column, it is a both the columns. Okay, both columns are primary keys only. That's what it is created in the database table. We didn't do right, and we don't have any bank underscore customer underscore fojo class also. It is created based on the at join column annotation inside that, the name of the table, join columns and inverse join columns. Based on that, it will create this new table to keep the relationship between those bank and customer tables. That's what many to many. Okay. Now, now let's see what is the next concept. Next concept is criteria. What is criteria? Now, criteria means in the database table, in the database tables, we have some data is there. Just assume some 1 lakh records data is there. So, normally till now what we are doing, we are writing of HQL queries or SQL queries to get the data. HQL queries or SQL queries to get the data. Correct? But now what we will do is we will write off, we will not write any queries. I don't want to write any queries by using some methods. There are some methods by using that I want to fetch it. That is what criteria. So criteria is a query. Criteria is a search query. By using criteria, we can get the data only. There is no insertion and updation, all those things. Only fetching of data we can do that. Now, it is a criteria based query language mainly used to fetch the records based on some specific search criteria. Okay, now let's say um, we are writing of all the queries till now, right? Now let's close it. HQL and SQL, we have seen that in the here. Now let's go to client class, named queries and HQL. Yeah, here we are writing of the queries. Here we are writing of queries, right? So instead of writing queries, I don't want of here only a list of all the employees came. Let's say if you want to get of specific ID, then we are using of from employee where ID equal to ID is coming. These are some query. Let's say I don't want to write any queries to fetch the data. Without that, how to get means that we can achieve by using a criteria. There are some methods that are available in criteria. There is some class restrictions class is available. By using that restrictions class, we can add, there are lot of methods. Those are LT means less than, greater than, GT. Now let's see. HCQL Hibernate query language cannot be used to perform DDL like insert, update, and delete. We can't do anything like insert, update, delete. Only for selecting data or getting the data from database, so we'll use of criteria. Okay, how to get? By using a criteria method is there, that we'll see. Add of criterion, add order. These are the some of the methods, guys, that we'll see some examples now. The methods that will be used to restrict the data to get the data from database without using query is LT. LT means less than. Let's say I want to get the data. I want to get the employees whose salary is less than 10,000. Okay, you can use of LT, or LE means less than or equal to. GT means greater than. GE means greater than or equal to. Equal to. EQ means equal. NE means not equal to. Between is there, like, in, or, and. So all these are the methods, guys. These are all methods part of the restrictions class. Okay, as part of this, we have all these methods is there. By using these methods, we can get the data. Let's see that how to add those data. Let's see, these are the methods that will be used: add order, set first result, set max result, set projections. Why do you need a projection? That I will show you that now. Now go to come down. The example Hibernate criteria project. Go to Hibernate criteria project. Hibernate criteria project. So in this what we are doing, created of employee class is there, employee underscore HQL and address class is there with address data. Okay, this of there is no changes in this one guys. This is a known thing. I am not doing any new changes in this one. No new annotation is adding. Now in the address and employee both are no changes. The thing is the way of fetching the data. Okay, go to criteria class. Now this of getting the connection by opening of get session factory. From that session factory we are getting of one connection and start the transaction. Now if I want to get of all the employees details, all employees details. Now let's do second format it. Yeah, why it is giving error? Yeah, no error. Let's see any other queries. Yeah. Now what I am doing, before we are using of for getting of executing that query, get named query that we are using, right? Now to use of criteria API, to use of criteria API to get our details, to get our details from the database, there is a method called from session. All things will be there in the session only guys. Depends on our criteria, we can get it. Whichever the method, there are lots of methods is there based on create query or native query, named query, or whatever that you want to execute. Session dot save or update, merge, all methods is available in all. We are doing operation on top of session only. Okay. Now there is one method is called create criteria. Create criteria. It is taking off. See, it is taking off some entity class. Entity class. Now I am giving off. I want to get the data of entity class of employee. It is internal. It is associated with employee table. Let's go for that. Simply, if you are trying to get off all the data, right? Not a single record. So in this you will not see the magic. Directly session that create created, it will give off criteria object. Okay, before it is giving query object. Now it is criteria object. Object is different. Now criteria dot list means it will give all the employees list. We are going to print it. Now let's no change. There is no much thing here. It's taking time. Yeah. What it is generated? See, it is generating of there is some query. It is generated employee table from employee and left outer join of address table. Whatever that is there in the employee, same all the details associated to that employee, we are getting the details. Now come down. These are all things not required. See, all the data that we are getting, employee ID, name, salary, address details is separate. Okay. Now these are for getting all the details. You will not see anything here. Now let's say if you want to get off, if you want to get off some particular details. Now we'll see that restrictions class will enter that. Now let's say if you want to get off some particular ID employee details, then what we did before, so from employee where ID equals something that we are writing like that, right? Now in this case, now in this case, one second. Let's enable this row. Now let it. If it is not there means again we need to create a criteria here. Okay. Now let's this object that I'm using. Otherwise, you need to create of one more. Or else if you want, I can use of one more. No worries. Create of one more object criteria one. Criteria one. So in the criteria one, you need to change. So this is for getting all the records. Session dot create criteria for employee for getting of all the employees records. But I don't want all the records. I want to add some restrictions on this criteria object. I want to add some restrictions on this criteria object. Criteria dot add. What you want to add? Some restrictions is restrictions dot equal of id, where id equal to 2 is there, right? I want only that record. Before we are using where id, right? Now in this case, criteria dot add of restrictions mean restricting the data, restricting the data. Restrictions dot, here we have multiple methods, equal to, between, okay, like, in, okay, all is not empty, not, multiple methods is there. Okay, out of that I want to fetch off some employee id equal to 2. Okay, this is taking of long value. Okay, so value of that employee id is long, right? So that is the reason we are passing also value as long value. Okay, now from this criteria object, now unique result, this is of not all the list, right? This of I am calling of unique result, where id equal to 2 is required. Return that record. Now let's say this is what criteria. Now let's see, there are some more methods is there. With all the methods that we'll see, less than, greater than, not equal to, between, or all those things that we'll see. Yeah, see, now we are getting of only one record. The generated query also see that. See the generated query, it is of joining query with two tables it is generated. Okay, now go to database. It is query is let's say, so this is query, it is generated, just I'm passing of 2. No, only in the question mark place I changed as 2, guys, nothing else. Okay, 2 I am passing. Let's run it. It's giving of employee ID, name, salary. Okay, these are the two tables it contains the mapping, right? Address table contains and employee table. That's what it is giving two. Okay, now address, city, and zip code. Same that we are getting here. ID, name, salary, and address information, address object. Okay, now if you want to get off multiple, let's see, there is one more example. What it is? It is of multiple. Okay, now you want to use of not one. Let's say here, if you want to get off one more, just assume of that one more employee ID. One more employee ID means again we need to write one more query, right or not? So instead of that, there is a, if you want to get multiple means where employee ID in, okay, 2, 3, comma 4, if I am giving, where employee ID equal to 2 will come, 3 will come, 4 will come. All the records will come. So in that case, what I'm using? I'm using of in class. I'm using in, right? Where employee ID, where employee ID in. What happened? Only one record. Let's see. What are the database tables data? Now let's go to database, the table. Oh, 3 is there. 4, 3, 5, 6. It is there, right? What happened? Why it is not giving? Okay, so I didn't execute it. Sorry, guys. So here 2 is there, 3, 4. All other employees data is also it is giving. Right or not? Now, if you want to execute off with multiple IDs in one shot, then instead of equal to, in class will accept all the IDs. So whichever is there, that values is there in the database, all that ID employee details will fetch it. Now let's enable it. Of enable it, change it. Now criteria 2. 2 dot criteria 2 dot. So this will give us full details, full employee details. But I don't want of all the full employees of that one. Now, out of that criteria dot add restrictions. If you want to add where conditions to your employee class, then we are adding of add of add of one second. Add of restrictions in. Restrictions is the it contains all the methods. To which restrictions you want to add for your data, employees data. So where in ID. So ID is one of the property, right? ID is one of the property. ID is one of the property in the Pojo class. Take that one. And then for that, what is the values I'm passing? I'm passing as a list. I'm passing as a list. So 5, 8, 10 data employees data I want. 5, 8, 10 employees IDs data I want. So it will add up these restrictions in class with 3 primary keys and criteria data list, because it is going to return off multiple records, right? That's the reason I'm calling of list method, and whatever that is returning, just to iterate it. That's it. Okay, now let's run it. Now let's see the query how exactly it is going to generate is with in class only it will generate with in. Okay, let's see. See that it is generating, it is giving off even though we have multiple records. How many records in the database? We have of some 11 records is there, right? So for out of 11, 3 is given, 5, 8, 10. Now let's see this one. This queries that we have seen, employee before it is equal is there. Now it is in class. In, so out of these three, whatever that I am giving here, if any value is associated in the database, the data is there, then get off all those employees ID details. We have employee ID 5 is there, 8 is there, 10 is there. All it is returned. Now let's say for example, if I am changing it to 80, do you have 80 employee record? No. Then in this case, it will return only 2 employees. In this case, it will return off only 2 employees, not 3. So only out of 3, 5, 80 and 10, only 5 and 10 is there. There is no employee ID 80. Right? Now let's see. It should give up only 2, 5 and 10. See that? It is giving up only 2 employees IDs 5 and 10. But there is no employee ID with 80 in the table. That is the reason it is not returning. That is of in class. Okay. Now let's say one more. The next criteria, let's see that. So if you want to get off salary is greater than, less than, like that, if you want to use of anything, want to use of salary some conditional based, less than, greater than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to is there, right? That I want to use it. Criteria, criteria 3. Criteria 3 and let's format it. Now this is of known thing. So what I want to add, salary based on search, right? Salary based search. So criteria that add of restrictions I want to add on which column? On salary column I want to add it. So restrictions that less than 1000, less than salary equal to 1000. I want the employees whose salary is less than 1000. Less than is not equal to, guys, less than only, less than not equal, less than or equal to. Okay, not LT, LE, less than or equal to. Okay, now let's see. So it may, the salary is less than 1000, there may be a chance of getting more than one employee, right? That is the reason we are calling of criteria dot list method. It will give list of employees whose salary is less than or equal to 1000. See, now we are getting of employees whose salary is less than. See the condition. See, employee salary less than or equal to. If you are giving, because LE we are given, right, that means less than or equal to. If you are using, let's say it is given 100, 200, 300 and 1000, because we are giving equal also, right? Now if I am using of GT, what does mean by GT? GT means greater than. So you mean that 1000 will get or not? 1000 will not get it, right? 1000 greater than, not greater than or equal to. Okay, now see, now it will give off all the records whose salary is greater than 1000, not greater than or equal to 1000, also it will not come. It is giving off all the records whose salary is greater than 1000, 20,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 30, 40, and 4,000. But even 1000 record is there, but even 1000 is also not coming because of we are used as GT, not GE. GE means greater than or equal to, but not we are passed as GT. Okay, now next, like that you can use of either GE or LE or GT or GA based on your requirement. Okay, now I'm using of now like condition. If you want to get off some data, if you want to get some data based on some like condition, let's say your name is starting with your name is starting with M or last ending with N. Like that, if any name criteria you want to, some like conditions, like conditions. Let's say you want to search whose name starting with Rama. Then Rama and that search criteria, how exactly we can add? Let's see that. Now criteria, go up, copy this, come down, sorry, so four criteria, four. Yeah, what I am doing, this is for getting all the records. This is for getting of all the records. Now I want to, out of all the records, I am adding of some condition on name. Criteria dot add of restrictions like, restrictions like, on which field you want to add like condition? Name. It is of employee poso class name attribute, not the column, guys. Table column. It is of employee poso class property. Here name equal to m percentage. M percentage means first letter should be m, after that whatever that is there, it doesn't matter. Okay, how many characters it is there, it doesn't matter, it should accept of first starting letter is m. Okay, now let's go to table and see the data first. Okay, employees names, who's Ashok, Jaya, Navin, Rama, Priya, Swati, Madhu, Viswa, Monica and Bindu, whose names are starting with m? Madhu and Monica is both names are started with name as Yam, right? Now let's see whether it will give only those two records or any other records it will give it. Yeah, now see how many records it is given, where name like it is giving only two records, Monica and Madhu, right? I'm using of employee name like the condition starting with M, whichever is there, the employees details, those it will give. Let's say for example, go to database. I want to get off whose name ending with name ending with N letter. Navin is ending yes, let's assume of take A. So Viswa is taking ending with A, Monica is ending with A, and Priya is ending with A, Jaya is ending with A letter. Okay, let's say in that case, what we can do instead of here, first keep as percentage, percentage, and A. Let it be whatever that is there before. But if that name should end with A, those character, those all the records if you want, then we can give us like this. Percentage means whatever that is there, it don't bother. So after that, whatever that is the A is there, right at the ending, all those records it will give. Let's say for sometimes you want if any name contains A, doesn't matter whether first or last or in between or whatever it is. A is there means then if you want to get off that, then in between will keep A and then first and last will keep as a percentage. That also will see one example. Now it will see one, it should give two, three, four records it should give. Now let's see. See, it is giving us four records. Name Jaya ending with A, Monica ending with A, Priya ending with A, Vishwa ending with A. Right? Now let's say for example, A is available in Ashok is also there. It is of capital A, guys. So Navin, Navin is also small A is there, and Ramesh is also there. Now let's see. I want of whose names contains A. Doesn't matter whether it is first or last or in between. Okay. In this case, let's see. See, it is giving of all the employees whose name contains A. See, this contains A. Naveen, Ramesh, Monica, Priya, Swati, Vishwa, Vijay, and Madhu. All people contains A. It doesn't matter whether it is first, first or last. Okay, that's what. But A is capital, guys. There Ashok. It is small A that we have given. Okay. Now, now, now let's see what is the next one. LT and GT that we have seen. No need of this one again. Okay. Now let's fetch the selected columns. So till now all the columns is there, right? Till now we are getting off all the columns. But sometimes let's say you want to get off only limited columns. Employee contains name, salary, address, so everything is there, right? Out of all those things, I want only selected columns. In that, from that we need to add a one more concept that is called projections. We'll call it as a sorry guys projections concept will be introduced. So it will become only whenever you want to get off only some specific columns from the table. That time we need to use of in the criteria, we need to use of projections concept. Let's see what is that. Now you want to get off whose salary is greater than. I want to get the employees whose salary is greater than 10,000. Their name and salary, not all. In this case, what we are doing? ID, name, salary, address. So address line one, zip code, city, everything is coming, right? I don't want of all these details. I am expecting only name and salary. That's it. Okay. Then in that case, the projections concept will introduce. First, write off query for create criteria for employee class. So on top of that, restrictions added criteria dot greater than salary equal to 10,000. Up to this we know that, right? So now projections we need to create. Okay, create of projections dot projection list. Projections dot projections list. Inside this projection list, add the properties which you want to get it. Projections dot projection list dot projection of property, which one? Name. And projections dot property of salary. Only these two columns only I want. Okay, these two I have added in the projections. Now criteria dot set projection of this projection list. Then so in this selection criteria, only these two columns will come. Okay. After that, let's see. So after that, execute of create criteria column criteria dot list. It will give list of all the employees. So, but in the form of not full object, it is a partial object, right? That is the reason it is going to give as object array instead of employee. So from this array, we need to pick. From this array, it contains of name and salary, right? First one is name, second one is salary. From each object array, here that object of 0 is name, object of 1 is salary. Okay, now let's see. For this, before that, we need to set up data, guys. So I have given some data also. You can utilize it. Okay. See, now in this case, even in the selection also, select employee name, employee salary from HQL, where salary equal to where salary equal to where employee salary is greater than 10,000, right? 20, 30, 40. There are other is employees is there who is having less than 10,000. All those things is restricted. And out of that also, name Monica, only two things is coming. Okay. Now come down. This is projections, guys. Next one is next page nation. Next is you want to restrict of some data. You want to, let's say 1 lakh records is there, means in the page you can't see all the 1 lakh records. It's not possible, right? So at a time you are expecting of some 5 to 10 records or 50 records that you are expecting in the response. Okay. Then in that case, we can go for page nation concept. Okay. Okay. Now let's see that page nation part. What I'm doing? So I'm getting of data. First I'm getting all the data. I'm getting session that create criteria of employees. It will give all. On top of that, add order. I am doing that. So it will give order the data. On which order? Based on id, based on employee id. In which form? Ascending order. Order dot ascending, or whichever order that you want, either descending or ascending, whichever order you want, you can get the, you can filter the sort the data. On top of that, set first result 3. I want only first 3, and max result is 5. First result is 3 and max is 5 dot list. Okay. Now what I am doing here, it is going to give off all the records up to this whatever the selected part. Okay, so this data whatever that is giving, I am doing of order. I am doing of order by ascending order based on employee ID. Okay, after that set first record is 3. Hit first result is 3. From there max is 5. Dot list it will return it. Now let's see. How many records? I'm expecting of 5 records, guys. Okay. Order by ascending order. Okay. Not descending order. Now ascending order means it is going from 0, right? So from starting 1, 2, 3. It should give. I'm expecting as these 3 from 3. Let's see. Happen any error? Uh, rows fetch next. Rows only. Somewhere it is giving of some error. 1 second, guys. Anything mistake that I have done? Let's remove this. Run it. What is happened? Let's see. We are getting data, but there is something happened at null pointer exception criteria test of 100. Somewhere some null values is there. It is throwing off some error, guys. So let's see. For let me debug it. If any error is coming, you should know that how to debug also, guys. Okay. Let me debug it. Instead of run as, you need to click on debug as. Okay. While executing of fourth record, while executing of fourth record while iterating, it is giving error. Okay. Let's see why it is giving error. See now, yes. Make it the query first. What it is going to return, right? Somewhere it is giving null values. That is the reason only it is causing issue. We'll see that this is the query it is generated. Yes, somewhere Madhu values is having null is their data. Somewhere because of this only it is causing error. Okay. Now let's finish it. Terminate this. Now let's truncate that record. Delete that record. Where what is employee address is null, right? So let's address delete from address where address ID, right? Select get the data. Select from yes. Where is that fourth record here? We don't have fourth record. Let's get it is not associated, right? So that is the reason. Full dead. delete from employee where emp underscore id equal to 4. So one row is deleted and commit it. Now let's see. Even add order also now. Come back. See. It is happening. It's taking time. Yeah. Now see from where it is started. I said the result starting from first result is 3. It is excluded that first result and then max result is 5. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't think like let's say max set first result is keep 2. Okay, we have employee records, right? Now let's do it again. So in our database, what is the data that we have? Let's see. Ascending order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that is showing, right? So now it will show off records from set first result as 2, means it will ignore of 2 maybe, and then it will start from there 3 to 5. From there 3 it will start, and 3 to 5 records, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 records. It is ascending order. Okay, after ascending order of employee side is first result is 2, it will exclude that. Okay, now 3, 4, max result is from there 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct? 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 records is coming. Okay, let's say if you want to keep off from first result is starting is 8. Okay, from there I'm expecting of 8 records. Okay, now let's see how many it will come. Well, only 3 records is there after that, right? After 8, 9, 10, 11 is there. So whether it will throw or will it give only 3 records? Let's see. See, it is giving. What happened? Why 9 is not coming? 10 and 11 only came. Okay. What I kept? 8. Max result is 5. Right? Why it is not giving? Why 9 is not giving? I'm getting up some confusion here. First result is 8. Here we have 9 is also there. Is it correct where employee underscore HQL table only, right? Correct. And maybe some address might be something. Address ID. Let's go to address table. Address table, do we have that address 9? If not there, it won't. Yes. The problem is the address ID 9 is not there. Only it is giving of matcher records. Even I given the query which it is generated is also, it is of only left outer join it is used. So while explaining if the it will match with the left side table means employee table, all the matching records from right side table. So for the employee ID 9, it is there is no record in the address table. That is the reason 9 is not coming, guys. Okay. It is not our mistake. It is the correct one. It is the correct behavior. Okay. Now that's what for getting off pagination. Okay. Now if you want to get off what else is pending, join. So here we can use of some join also. So automatically it is generating join. Automatically it is generating by using of join condition, right? So now if you want to fetch up some extra join that you want to add it particularly on some column. Now let's see that criteria. Up with that criteria, yes, create it. Create, I'm creating as a, otherwise you people will face issue while executing it. That is the reason I'm changing here criteria 5 5 and 5. So what I'm doing here, so to get up some particular columns we need of projections that we have seen, right? Now if I want to, what I'm doing, from employee table I am getting the alias name is this one. So from the alias again there is an employee table contains address also, right? It is relation. So employee dot fetch mode equal to join. Even in this case also it will use of join between employee and address. On which column? For employee dot address equal to address. Employee dot address equal to address. Out of that, which column you want? Name column as well as address dot city. This is the alias name. Okay, name is coming from employee and address is coming from this alias object. Okay, only these two columns I want by using of inner join. Okay, now after that projections is added, set that projections which columns you want. Next, iterate the data. These are known things that we have seen. Comment it. Next, we will see multiple conditions that we will add it. Multiple conditions. So, restrictions greater than salary equal to 1000 and name like this one, and one more is salary greater than or name criteria, both that we need to add to some logical expression, and then that we need to add it. One second, we got the data. See, all the employees, name and their city came. Okay, it is giving of object array, guys. From the object array, if you are using projections means it will give of object array only, guys. That from that we need to extract it. Okay, now next one is instead of single condition, till now we are using of either gt or less than or what greater than, that we are using, right? Now we will use of more than one condition. More than one condition, that we will use it. Let's see. Capital C. Please change it to 6. 6. 6. Okay. Now, first time getting of total employees. First time getting of all the employees. After that, what I am doing? I'm based on salary greater than or equal to 1000 employees only I want. That is the first restriction. If it is giving of 10 records out of 100 records, with the salary greater than 1000 is just assume of 10 records is there. Okay. So out of 10, again name is again whose their names contains Y. Those employees only I want. So this is salary greater than criteria, and this is of name criteria. These two criteria I'm adding of both I should match. Both I should match, guys. If you want at least one means we need to add R. Okay. If both you want to add, and condition is required. Now let's see. And after it will give us some logical expression reference. So that we are adding into the our criteria object. It will give list of employees. No specific columns, right? All columns we want to get whose condition is satisfied. Now let's see. Compulsory salary must be greater than, and the name contains y, guys. Let's go on this check in the database. True, whose salary is greater than 1000, Priya is there. Why? Okay. And Vijay is also there. Why? These two people contains name salary is greater than 1000 and name contains why in between only, right? Anywhere it is fine. See? Yeah, now it is coming of two employees, Priya and Vijay. Their salary is greater than 1000 and contains of A value. Sorry, Y. Priya and Priya Y is there, Vijay Y is there. Now, any one condition or just assume of or condition, either salary is greater than 1000 is also fine, or a name contains Y. Name contains Y. Below 1000 is Y is JI is there, right? Now let's see in this time any one condition, either salary is greater than 1000 is fine or name contains Y is also fine. Then in that case, it should give off one more record, extra record. Let's see how many records it will give it. Now let's see all these people whose JI is Y is there. Okay, salary is below, right? Maunika. So salary is 20,000. Either salary is condition should satisfy, at least Y should be there. So Priya 2000 greater than 2000. Swati greater than 2000. Vishwa greater than 1000. Greater than 1000. So in this case, I am expecting either salary or name should match the condition. Okay, that's what restrictions. If you want, you can practice more on this method. On top of restrictions, there are not many things is there. Okay, you can utilize of anyone, guys. That's what for criteria. Okay, next, what is next is criteria is done. Next is Hibernate caching. Hibernate cache types. Okay, guys, this will discuss today in the evening class. I want to keep today, guys. Okay, so at 4 o'clock, I'm going to schedule of one more class today. Okay, guys, that's what for today's class. We'll meet in the evening. Thank you, guys.